Dr. James Huey. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's been about, a year and a half you visited with us, didn't you?
Yes, I guess it was early in the summer.
And you have a practice here in Wayne County.
Yes, at the Waynesboro Family Clinic up on Wayne Memorial Drive.
And now you're a psychologist. Now,
correct.
Well, let's say psychologist, psychiatrist, and psychology. Now, where should we start? Psychology, first of all?
Well, psychology is the study of human behavior, and psychologists are people who focus on the study of human behavior. Psychiatrist goes a little step further and includes the world of medicine.
So he's the one that could, I guess, perform an operation if he had to.
An operation, but mostly they use the medications, in other words, the mind-altering drugs and pharmacology that might be used in psychology.
As a psychologist, and you've been doing this for how many years?
More than I probably prefer to say, Jim. But I guess it's probably been nearly 30 years.
And you deal with of course, there's got to be a wide range of people from what we call, quote, normal to people that deviate to one side or the other, either psychotic criminally or psychotic depressionally. Is that the word?
Well, psychology ranges with a whole diverse group of people. And of course, the most ones that get a lot of attention are the extreme cases. But most of the ones we see are what I call normal people with normal problems, normal concerns, generally things like depression, anxiety, marital conflict, family conflict, dysfunctions within the family, those kinds of issues. And they're generally typical. They're nothing dramatic and exciting, but they're the gist of everyday living.
Well, someone told me years ago, it's not the big things in life that hurt. It's the little things that keep adding up and become a big thing.
They do. And also, how do you handle the little things as they come along? Do you handle them every day, or do you let them build up until 30 days of little things is an awful lot?
And then explode one big time. Right?
And then explode. Yeah. Yes. And, during this holiday season, that's kind of like what happens too. We'll be facing an awful lot of depression in January because these little things are building up through December right now.
Yeah, I had mentioned a while ago, you always where you got parties to go to. You feel obligated to many things in life, whether you should be or not. But you feel obligated, well, I better go to this party because they're my friends. I better go to that party. I got to buy a present for Mr. A because he bought one for me, or Mrs. B. And the next thing you know, you're buying this and buying that, and you're trying to, how do you get past all this stuff?
Well, the holidays are very full of expectations. Most of them we started as children. We started developing expectations about what Christmas meant. And then as we went into becoming adults, we developed not only our family's expectations, but our spouse's family's expectations, our friends' family's expectations. And you start piling those up, and we should be going to every party we're invited to. We should get a present for everyone. We always get the Christmas cards out on time. We get those presents for people that are important. We attend the office parties. We spend time, and we're supposed to be gracious and understanding. And even people we don't like the other 11 months of the year, we're going to be nice and kind and forgiving and supportive. And don't forget to always be ho, ho, ho for 30 days. I mean, never let the fact that you don't feel up. You should be onward and forward. And of course, being busy. That's part of the American culture, is to stay busy.
Now, not to mean that you're talking about people should be like Scrooge and go through life the same way every day, but this is a season to think about what it means, and maybe someone that can become a little more friendly will stay that way the other 11 months of the year.
Well, and as I say, the thing is that if you are developing a pattern where it becomes a part of you rather than it's Christmas and I ought to do this and I should do that and I have to do this, and all of those obligations are what creates the stress. If you're saying, hey, I do want to make some changes in life, it's a great contemplative, reflective period of time. What does Christmas really mean? And what does it mean in my world, as versus trying to live up to all the commercial world, all the expectations of other people?
Do you find a lot of people are able to change or slow down or realize what they're doing to themselves?
Once they start taking the time to be kind to themselves, to say, hey, what does Christmas really mean to me? And what do I take the responsibility for choosing? A lot of people feel almost like a victim. They feel powerless to be able to make choices. And I firmly believe, and as a psychologist, and we spend a lot of time in private practice or in doing a number of other things, helping people realize they have the power to choose.
What is the best way for someone that really wants to do a little thinking? Is it just get off by themselves where it's quiet? What's the best way?
Well, it varies with different people at different times in their lives. Sometimes we need that solitude, that quietness, that contemplative period. Sometimes we need someone who will make the commitment to listen to us, to be able to help us understand what in the world we're saying. We call it listening hospitality in the friendship program, but it's really a saying, I'm going to make a commitment to listen to whatever you want to do and sort out.
So sometimes over the years, you keep seeing I don't want to stereotype, but, a homemaker and a homemaker get together over coffee in the mornings, and actually they're listening to one another and getting their gripes out of the way.
And we all need that. We all need it to different degrees. Some of us need a daily dose of verbalization. Some of us can do it once a week. Some people can do it for a longer period of time. But we all need a chance to share. I believe that God made us as social animals needing other people.
I didn't really want to talk about friendship yet. I'm still interested about the season of people with the hustle and bustle and running with the crowd. How do you store up enough energy to make it through the next day? That's been something, sometimes you can, people will last about an hour and then that's it. They get out of my way. Some people can go 24 hours before they need a little respite.
Well, see, this goes back to the realization that I believe as psychologists, one of my real gifts to other people is to give them an atmosphere where they explore what is important and valuable to them, and they recognize they have the power to decide. They have a power to decide whether they're going to go into a frenzy of trying to buy presents for everyone, whether they're going to go to every party, whether they're going to send a Christmas card to everybody they've ever known. Are they going to go to every church service? Are they going to spend time with their kids baking cookies? What are they going to do? The reality is we never get more than 24 hours a day. I mean, whether it's December or the middle of July, it's still 24 hours and we're all equal. So we have to make choices. Unfortunately, we get a lot of things in order to be a good parent, a good spouse, a good friend, a good church member, etc. There's a lot of pressure to try to do it all. The reality is we can't.
I like the idea you came up with. You call it friendship, which is sort of double meaning. If you say it once friendship, I mean, I'm your friend, but friendship is like a cruise that people go on and meet other friends or make new friends possibly. And where did this idea come from?
Well, when I was in private practice in Brevard, North Carolina, I used to take every 12th week off and go on a cruise just because I needed the chance to get away. And I recognized that people had a need to be heard, a chance for people to really say, I'm basically healthy, but I have a need to be heard in confidence, and I need to talk with someone who'll be honest. Not my friends who want to help me feel good, not by people who are going to judge me or blame me, or people who are going to load me up with advice, but someone who will just help me hear myself, who will be honest, and most of all, what I think psychologists do, and that's offer confidentiality. It's one of the real sad things that oftentimes you can't say some things to people, even in your own friendship or family circle, because they don't know how to keep their mouths shut. A professional psychologist does.
Well, I'll agree with you there. Sometimes things come back that you did not expect to come back. Okay.
And if you live in a small town, that's even more of a difficulty.
You don't want to read about it in the paper, do you?
That's right. Or hear about it down at the community hall or at the church service. These are things that we all, I believe, as human beings have a right to certain feelings and thoughts and to be able to maintain them in privacy.
Okay, so here I go. I decide I'm going on a cruise. Now, you're not the only person that does this. I believe this is nationwide, isn't it? I mean, you have a whole group that you've gotten together.
We have a friendship advisory group, which consists of psychologists and other people who work within the training area of helping people empower themselves. And we offer onboard programs. We primarily operate one-to-one, which is saying that you and I would spend time every single day exploring issues that are important to you. Then you would have some homework that you would go off and be able to do on your own. It would still be back at the end of the week. You studied the things that are important to you, not things that I think you should know. In other words, just as a psychologist, if you were coming to my clinic, you would bring the issues that were important to you.
What's the biggest topic? I'm going to guess. Marriages?
Marriages and self-esteem. In other words, communication with other people, whether it's in marriages or even in family and friends, but communications with other people and perceptions of self. There's an awful lot of loneliness. There's an awful lot of guilt There are a lot of feelings that people don't know how to really handle, and they abuse themselves with them.
And I think someone said years ago, wasn't it, the loneliest feeling in the world is to be alone in a crowd?
Yes.
And I guess there are a lot of people like that.
Well, and when they say something like, share it with people, let's say, well, yes, I have these lonely feelings. The most frequent advice is, well, why don't you go join a group? Why don't you get out with people? Why don't you? In other words, they don't hear what the person is saying. I'm with people, I have people, but I'm still lonely. I haven't come to grips with what it means to be at peace with self. And whether it's in the private practice office or whether it's on retreat, we're helping people do that in a different atmosphere, a chance where they can explore themselves, be honest, and have their confidence maintained.
And I think you said one time you see an awful lot of people at your office here in Goldsboro, Wayne County. But when you get on a cruise, as soon as the ship pulls away from the docks, people, their personality or attitudes seem to completely change.
They do. In other words, if someone comes to Waynesboro Family Clinic and we talk week after week on a number of issues, as versus if we were to take 1 week at sea, it's amazing how fast we get to the issue quickly. When people come to a land-based office, they tend to be more hesitant. They tend to take longer to get what's really in their heart and soul and get to it in a much slower manner than they do at sea. It's almost like when we pull away the floating island hospitality or whatever, people say, gosh, I really can say. Plus the fact they know that at the end of 7 days, if they haven't said it, it's not going to get said.
When people are going through depression or loneliness or whatever it happens to be, or anxiety, I guess, or lack of communication, how do you actually deal with this? I mean, do you follow up and see if someone has progressed any, or whether they fell back into the old ways? You know, someone goes on a cruise with you, say in July. Do you find out in November if they're feeling any better?
Well, one of these things we do with the friendship program is we have an 800 conversation line. Whenever a person goes through a retreat, we give them a conversation line number so that they can follow up with me if they wish to do so. In other words, if they come from San Antonio, Texas, then they can call me here in Goldsboro and we can set up a time and we can follow up with any of those points. Recharging the batteries if things get a little weak back in San Antonio.
What's some of the heartwarming, I say heartwarming, what are some of the cases or people without names that have made you feel really good?
As I say, my favorite retreat was the young man who came. He was probably in his early 30s, and he wanted to spend time talking about the role of love in his life. And I thought that was really fascinating. It's someone who didn't want to focus it on a problem, but just wanted to explore something, that preventive thing we're talking about. And what choices did he want to make in regard to love? We talked about love of self. We talked about love of family. We talked about romantic and sexual love, and then love with God. Spiritual love. All of these were components of love in his life, but they were prevention-oriented. They were self-learning oriented. That to me was probably one of the most exciting retreats I ever went on with an individual, a companion with someone as they explored it. After the period of the retreat, the individual went away with a lot more knowledge about himself.
And have you ever followed up to a point to see if they've changed their job outlook or their direction that they were headed in?
Well, one of the most powerful things is that people make a decision and say, if I'm in this job, then I make a choice to be in this job, whether it's perfect or not, but I make the choice. So many people feel victimized by the job. They feel victimized by their families. They feel victimized by their location, by their environment. This is a chance to say, no matter what choices you make them. Now, what are you going to do with the choice that you've made? And we do try to encourage people. If you need some changes, make the changes, but take responsibility for that change.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is for someone to learn responsibility.
And it's very difficult because there are an awful lot of people who feel very professionally victimized. They're ready to blame culture. They're ready to blame their friends, their spouses, their family, everything else except accepting responsibility for the choices they make.
We've got about a minute left. I want to we mentioned friendship. Now, how can people find out about this when there's going to be cruises, which I guess are out of Florida? Is that where they?
Well, they two go out of Florida, the Eastern and Western Caribbean, out of Miami, and then the one out of Los Angeles, and it goes to Mexico. If they want to contact me at the Waynesboro Family Clinic, they can call me at 734-6676. Almost forgot my own phone number. Or they can call me at Friendship 751-0500.
And you'd be glad to tell them more about
Be glad to do so.
In the time we got left, what is the hardest thing to get through to people, to get them to contact you about becoming aware of themselves, the problems they have, about drawing them out of themselves?
The hardest thing is in any journey is to take the first step, to make the first call and say, I would like somebody to help me along this journey of empowerment, choice, responsibility. I'm ready to take charge of my life. I'm ready to empower myself. Please let me have some assistance.
Okay.
First step is always the hardest, Jim.
Dr. James Huey, I wish you the best and on your next cruise. And
thank you for having me.
And things are apparently working well, helping a lot of people.
We're trying to do our very best.
That's good. We're ready to sing Jingle Bells now, aren't we?
Yes. Ho, ho, ho.
WGBR Goldsboro's very own.